data fabric, but we'll get into detail during the webinar. And it's about having your data secure and available wherever you need it. So first, I think you all know DMP. If you don't, we are data management professionals, and we keep your data in our safe hands. That's our main slogan, and that's what we do. We care about your data, and we make sure you have it available where you need it. I've been working at DMP for 7 years, as I have over 20 years experience in the data protection, disaster recovery, data migration landscape, and am currently working as a solution architect at DMP. And I will be your host today for this webinar. There are not a lot of people in this webinar, so if you have a question, please raise your hand via the buttons and we can keep it interactive. That's no problem. The webinar is recorded and will be shared afterwards with the slides. So let's start. I've made an agenda. I will talk about a bit of the history of NetApp, as we are currently in a milestone year for NetApp. So I want to briefly talk about the history of NetApp and why DMP is working together with NetApp. And then we go into the data fabric and the portfolio of NetApp and how we use NetApp at DMP. Yeah, I don't do any presentations, webinars without talking about ransomware. And this is no different today. NetApp has quite an extensive vision on ransomware and protection, and as it is such a hot topic, it's not really, it's always part of your data strategy to at this time to talk about ransomware. And the main engine behind the data fabric and your data availability is the Snap Mirror engine, so I will talk quite extensively about that, and I have a demo video at the end which takes about 5 minutes to show you the latest cloud manager software from NetApp, which makes it very easy to copy, migrate, or replicate your data anywhere. So this year, 2022, marks the 30th anniversary of the NetApp file system, the waffle file system, which was invented in 1992, which was also patented. And you see here a timeline. I know it's a bit small and I will not go through every option here. It will be shared afterwards. The black highlights state the number of patents registered by NetApp. And what you can see, they have a pretty steady line in creating new technology, embracing new items, and being a true visionary and pioneer on some areas. And they always were seen as a storage company, just delivering boxes which delivered unified storage. And in the last couple of years, doing that, they were a true leader, but they truly transformed to a cloud and service provider company over the past couple of years. And of course, not forgetting the on-premises boxes. And they have had numerous awards for performance, resiliency, and the offerings they have. And this sheet has everything in it. If we look at more in the cloud innovation, which NetApp did, then they already started in 2013 with adding NetApp storage very close to the cloud. That was an offering called NetApp Private Storage. where you could run your compute in the public cloud and you could have your own storage near to the cloud. A truly groundbreaking service they offered. And already starting in 2014, they added their ONTAP operating system to the public cloud provider, so people could use the same functions as they were used on premises in the public cloud. And this has only grown in the past couple of years, where they truly integrated with all the large hyperscalers and did some great acquisitions to be able to accelerate the cloud journey of the NetApp portfolio. Again, I will not do every item on this slide. I think the important highlights is the cloud volume services and all the names they have. Basically, what you can do now is you can have in AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, you can have a private virtual NetApp at your disposal, the same as you would have on premises, with all the benefits, all the features, all the replication, all the security in it. And more important, it supports all the replication and backup and disaster recovery techniques. And another important part, it keeps your data efficiency. So if you use deduplication or compression or encryption, it totally honors that, and it's fully compatible, which makes it at this moment a unique storage proposition on premises and in the cloud. If we look at the portfolio, then we see 4 important pillars of storage. And the first one is based on the ONTAP operating system, as said, celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. And this is a truly Swiss Army knife for storage. It can do all flash, all NVMe, capacity, hybrid, and even software-defined storage, or in the public cloud. You can run ONTAP basically everywhere, or it is running for you, and you can use it as a service. And as its unified storage, it already delivered SAN and NAS capabilities. And in the last 2 iterations of the ONTAP operating system, also object storage was added using the S3 protocol. So it's a truly unified operating system for all your storage services and all your performance needs. It's a truly Swiss Army knife for all your storage needs. And then we have StorageGrid. It's their scale-out object storage platform. I will go into a bit more detail on object storage if I talk how we use the NetApp portfolio at DMP. But basically, it's one of the largest object storage systems capable of storing massive amounts of data for a very long time, with all sorts of lifecycle management underneath it, based on the S3 protocol developed by Amazon. The third pillar is SolidFire using the Element OS, and that's a truly scale-out architecture, especially aimed at service providers with unmatched performance and a very unique quality of service engine which guarantees performance, which is a great solution. Again, I will talk a bit more because we use this at DMP as well. This is also available as software-defined storage as well. What makes this platform unique is that they combine compute, memory, and storage in each node you add to the storage cluster. So you're not only adding capacity, you're also adding compute and IOPS to the cluster when you scale which makes it a high-performant, unique platform. And then we have the E-series obtained via Ngenio, the LSI. And the E-series basically is dedicated SAN storage from extreme fast, extreme low latency to no-nonsense block storage for every workload. They're great for video storage. They do quite a good job at AI storage. There is a reference architecture for Splunk. As soon as you need a lot of SAN capacity and performance, or just capacity, then basically the E-series running the Centricity OS is the platform to go to. And this is just the storage part of the NetApp portfolio. If we look at the ONTAP system, which is the most used system as it is the Swiss Army knife, a controller is always high available. It's everything double in the box, and you can scale pretty large vertically by adding flash or disks to a controller and expanding your capacity. Basically, there are three types of controllers. You have the all-flash controller. Currently, most systems are internally full NVMe. And you have the hybrid, which is a combination of flash and spinning disks. And we have the spinning disks based on SAS and capacity. And you can add all types of controllers horizontally to the same cluster and migrate workload to the tier where you need it, or to migrate to a new system. So if you have an AFF which is 3 years old and you put a new NVMe beside it in the cluster, you can seamlessly migrate your workload to the new system. And if you have several systems in a cluster, you can move around your workload just like you would virtual machines in an ESX cluster based on the need at that time. Adding to that, the ONTAP operating system is also running in the cloud and is a software-defined option, which is basically the same software but running somewhere else. And all features, migrations, etc., are also available on that platform, but we'll get into more detail when we talk about the data fabric in a bit. That's the storage part of NetApp. The last couple of years, they truly embraced the cloud, which we see, and we see a lot of features using the cloud or enabling the cloud without forcing you to use the cloud. So if you do not really have a cloud strategy and you just want to buy a storage box on premises for your virtualization, your database workload, your ERP, then that just works fine. But know that the ONTAP operating system and the NetApp portfolio is fully cloud enabled, but it doesn't force you. So if you do not really have a cloud strategy or you're just not sure and you buy a NetApp box, it just works fine offline in your data center. But if something happens and you want to expand to the cloud, it truly enables that. So there's no locking, there's no force, but it is all enabled in the box. And that makes a pretty good proposition at this moment, especially if quite a lot are struggling with their cloud strategy and how to use it and where to use it for. So using it on premises works great, but you can use the cloud if you want to. It doesn't limit you, but it also doesn't force you. And I think that's a great strategy they use. Simple, if say you have a large database on premises on your NetApp, and you want to do a migration test to a new version or a conversion of the database, and you don't have the resources internally, you can easily migrate that database or copy it to the cloud, do the conversion or the migration, do the testing, turn it off again. And in that way, you are using the cloud, which you maybe haven't foreseen, and NetApp enables that. And with that portfolio, there's quite a lot of software and hardware around to enable that. And that's all done by the NetApp Data Fabric. The Data Fabric was a vision developed in 2016, where they basically said, we want to modernize, simplify IT, and accelerate business application by using the best location for your data. So build fast private clouds, but do data-driven innovation with your choice of clouds. And if that's an on-premise cloud, if that's a public cloud, if that's a service provider, if you want to do everything, that's fine. And the vision was to have your data flowing between all those clouds and choices you made without difficult software integration, connections, etc. Just have your data flowing where you need it. And that vision was a great vision. Everybody thought, well, yeah, that's a great vision, and now do the reality. And it took them a couple of years, to be honest. But at the moment, this is reality. We can connect every cloud, every system, if it's at a service provider, if it's as a public cloud, and you can basically use your data where you want it, where you need it, for as long as you need it. If it's for research, if it's for AI, if it's for disaster recovery, if it's a secondary copy for backup, basically NetApp gets your data flowing to the location with the retention and the time you need. And I'll be honest, I was a bit skeptic when they announced this vision, but it's great to see how it's become alive and is at the moment a true data fabric where you can use your data where you need it. So based on that, if you store your data, you migrate, you move your data around, of course, ransomware is a topic to be discussed. NetApp has a very layered approach with a lot of technologies underneath it to prevent, protect, detect, and recover from ransomware. And the most important ones I've written on the right. NetApp has one of the best snapshot engines in the storage market. Snapshots are always read-only. They don't take up a lot of space, and they only take a second to create. That being said, a snapshot is always read-only, so it's inaccessible for ransomware. That's a great first line of defense for all your data, to have those read-only snapshots. To go a bit further, you can mirror the data and the snapshots to another system. We'll go into much more detail of the Snap Mirror protocol in a bit. And if you mirror your data, you can also lock your data for a certain amount of time based on your retention needs. So you can have read-only data, you can have it mirrored, and you can have it locked. And if it's locked, it's truly unmodifiable for any software or even any user or administrator. This is a type of prevention or protection and recovery, because you can also recover very fast from a snapshot. In the latest release of ONTAP, there's also on-box ransomware protection. Apologies for the typo. And well, basically, it detects your normal behavior, and when something is out of the ordinary, it immediately alerts you that something is happening. And the software also sends some metadata to NetApp, what they call Active IQ. That's a AI-driven system which gives you advice on how to best implement all the features and settings on your system. And you basically, as soon as something is discovered which can have effect on ransomware or infection or etc., it alerts you about it. And they've opened up their software to third-party solutions where they can basically implement a solution. And one of the most well-known is CryptoStrike from a company called ProLion, which basically monitors your data, and as soon as the user or workstation does something which is out of the ordinary, the user and or workstation is blocked from access to prevent a further spread of ransomware or malware. NetApp has written up a technical report, their vision and their solution for ransomware with NetApp products. In the presentation notes, there is a link to that report. It's freely available, and it's a good read to be up to speed with what they can offer at the moment. So NetApp at DMP, not a lot of people know that, but I changed jobs 7 years ago because my current employer stopped using NetApp. And I truly believe in this product and wanted to work with it, so that's why I changed. Of course, our people are one of our most important assets, and we have quite a lot of experienced and skilled certified consultants. And NetApp has given us quite a few statuses, and we are also a member of several advisory boards, where the VTAP, the Technical Advisory Board, is the one I'm a member of, where we talk as a partner to NetApp about the solutions and the challenges we have with our customers directly to NetApp product management. And yeah, it's great to be a member and have impact on the portfolio as a partner. And as you might know or not, DMP has its own cloud where we offer a lot of data management as a services offerings. And underneath almost all our offerings is a bit much NetApp technology. So our complete core infrastructure is based on NetApp HCI. That is a combination of compute nodes running a virtualization software and the solid file storage based on the Element operating system, delivering massive amounts of IOPS and storage where we process a lot of customer data to store it efficiently. And if we store it in our cloud, we call that Cloud Drive, and we have a few variants. The most important ones are Cloud Drive, where we store backup data basically as a secondary of a third copy for the customer data, and we store that on NetApp Fed running the ONTAP operating system. And over the last couple of years, we added a large storage grid object storage system, which stores all long-term backup data. And what we see is with the migration to Microsoft 365, a lot of customers have the need to back up your data from Microsoft 365 or any other SaaS application. And that's also stored on the storage grid system at DMP. We have this set up in several locations worldwide. to also have geographically separated storage options for our customers. And this storage grid platform spans multiple petabytes of data across the globe, which is, and it truly delivers. It's not just marketing, it truly delivers for us to be able to have the SLAs and the retention for our customers. We do also quite a lot of disaster recovery for our customers, and we do that we have several systems, but if we are running a disaster recovery for one of our customers, it's based on the old flash storage, which gives us the efficiency and the speed to be able to run a customer data center in our data center in case something happens. And we use the E-series quite a lot underneath backup appliances which we place at customer sites to be able to store their backup data pretty close to their production site to have a fast restore, and that it will also be the source to create a secondary copy to our data center. And yeah, that's something we call drink your own champagne. Yeah, we truly embrace the NetApp portfolio. We are even working in the public cloud with NetApp at the moment. Yeah, from experience, we can say it's not just marketing, it truly works, and that's great to see. And we're very happy to work together with them. So back to the data fabric and the SnapMirror protocol. The SnapMirror protocol was created years ago, which basically made it possible to replicate your data between two systems. And they did all sorts of iterations of SnapMirror. The first one was very easy, just a complete copy of a volume, including its snapshots, to another data center. They then added the option to get a different retention of your snapshots on the secondary data center. People are familiar with NetApp, that was called a Snap Vault. So you could have on your expensive flash system, you could have 7 days of snapshots, and on your less expensive hybrid system, you could have 3 months of snapshots. And if we look now, there are several options. It's also used for migrating to new systems or to larger systems, or even smaller. If you're migrating to the cloud, you can even go to smaller systems. It's also a pretty efficient protocol to do migrations. And at the moment, almost all data management or disaster recovery solution from NetApp is using the SnapMirror protocol, which enables the data fabric to efficiently replicate data between sites and clouds. You can do that asynchronous, just on a schedule basis, every quarter, every hour, every day, depending on your needs. You can do that synchronous between two sites. If you want to do synchronous, you need a 10 millisecond or less line between the systems. And you can have the synchronous in strict or loose mode. And in strict mode, a write is a write when it's written to both systems. So you truly have consistent IOPS between the two systems. Another option they created is SnapMirror Business Continuity, which plugs into the in the SAN protocol, which makes sure your LUNs, no matter on which NetApp system they're running, are always presented in the right way in the read-write setting to your system, and that's a great option for high-performance databases which uses LUNs or anything else. And of course, using the data fabric, you can use the SnapMirror protocol to embrace the cloud. If that's at a service provider or in the public cloud, you can easily do efficient transfers, maintaining your efficiencies as said. So it also saves on egress costs and storage costs in the cloud, as NetApp maintains their deduplication and compression in the cloud as well. And then we have two more extensive disaster recovery solutions using the SnapMirror protocol. That's SVMDR. The storage provisioning is virtualized on the NetApp, which is called a storage virtual machine, ASVM. And you can have your complete SVM with all its settings, data, connectivity, etc., migrated for disaster recovery to another system or another cloud. And then we have the Metro cluster that's also using the same protocol, but delivering continuous availability between two sites. And to sum that up, we've created an overview of the several options for business continuity and disaster recovery. But also know that you can use this protocol to temporary or schedule basis migrate or copy your data to another site for any usage you truly want, and that can be as a service provider or in the public cloud or on a secondary site you have available or even next to the original storage system. So the Metro cluster is a truly continuous availability with no downtime and transparent automatic failover between the systems. All other disaster recovery have a manual step or scripted, but there is always some downtime, no matter how short. So a truly extensive portfolio to nurture every need you might have. And this used to be quite a lot of scripting, command line work, etc. It's now all in a tooling. If you use it on premises, it's in the system manager, as they called. And for the public cloud, they've created something called Cloud Manager. And Cloud Manager is basically a drag and drop interface to enable your data fabric and make sure your data is available where you need it. And I have a short video of, I believe it's 4.5 minutes, which holds a demo, which is given by Matt Watts, a technologist at NetApp, who does a great job in delivering that demo. So I will start that video now, and we'll have some time for questions or discussions afterwards.
As simple as you bring your data fabric to the net. So we start off here with our canvas. What we're going to do is add to the NetApp system.
Martijn?
Yes?
Is it right that we can't see the video right now?
No?
Oh, okay. We don't see the video.
All right, hold on. My apologies. Just try to get it online as fast as possible. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Here there's no sound, there should be. So let me check how we can solve that. My apologies. All right, let's try this again. Please let me know if you're hearing any sound now.
How simple it is for you to bring your data fabric to life through the NetApp Cloud Manager SaaS portal. So we start off here with our canvas, and what I want to do is add to this a NetApp system running inside one of the cloud providers. I'm going to choose Microsoft Azure. We'll have a single instance or a single Cloud Volumes ONTAP instance. And we need to give that a name. We'll call it Acme Azure, and obviously give it security. There are capabilities we can switch on. We will switch cloud compliance and cloud backup off just for sake of simplicity. And then we get to choose the availability zone and the virtual network configuration. Confirm that we have access to the system itself. And then how do we want to pay for it? Do we want to pay for this as we go? Or bring your own license, which is an enterprise license enabling you to use a large number of Cloud Volumes ONTAP instances, and it typically comes in at a lower cost. We'll go with pay as you go. Then we get to choose what type of workload are we supporting. And if you look at this, it's effectively bringing online a different virtual machine type inside Azure to support the Cloud Volumes ONTAP instance. We'll go with a database and application workload. We'll call the volume that we're going to create Acme Vol. We'll make it 100 gigabytes. And we'll switch all of our storage efficiencies on. This is our deduplication, our compression, and we'll even tier snapshot data into cold storage as well. And if we confirm the details and we click go. And the one thing I should pick up on is that we are managing the encryption as well. So this is also secure from an encryption perspective. So while that's creating, I'm going to add another working environment, which will be an on-premises system. And if we give that a second, it's already discovered the system that's on premises, and we'll bring that into our canvas as well. Just one thing to pick up on, you can see a backup tab there. That is because I've previously connected to this system and I have set up backup relationships from volumes on this system into Amazon S3 containers. You can see backup and compliance is switched on. So we can do very, very efficient backups from volumes on premises directly into the cloud. But what I want to do for this demo is show you how easy it is for us to create a replication relationship between a volume on premises and the system we just created inside Microsoft Azure. We simply drag and drop. We choose the network we'll replicate the data across. We choose the volume that we want to replicate. And the name of the volume and the destination. The name of the volume we'll create inside the Microsoft Azure instance. And how much bandwidth will we allow it to consume? Do we want to mirror and backup? I'll just mirror. We'll do the mirror every 5 minutes. Again, just confirm all the details are correct and click go. If we give that a few seconds, it's already doing it. That is how simple it is for us to bring storage endpoints online, on premises, in the cloud, and start connecting them together for backup, for tests, for development, for disaster recovery. But then we can layer all sorts of services over the top of this. I'm going to pick on a very simple one, which is compliance. You activate these literally by clicking the instance and by enabling the capability. If we had this enabled on these endpoints, what this will allow us to do is start scanning any data, file-based or database tables, for personally identifiable information. We can run privacy risk assessments, HIPAA reports, PCI DSS reports, or even data subject requests. Maybe John Doe has just contacted us to ask us where we might be storing information that could identify him as a person. Well, it's in 281 locations. And if we investigate, we can find out exactly where those locations are. And that's just scratching the surface. For both of these environments, you can see there's all sorts of other capabilities we can activate. We can switch on the ability to connect this volume to a Kubernetes cluster. We can switch on caching to enable us to cache this data out to a number of different remote locations. Anyway, this was a quick introduction to Cloud Manager. I hope it's been useful, and do contact us if you'd like to know more.
All right, my apologies for the 2 hiccups. So this was also the end of my presentation. As Matt Watts also said, just scratching the surface of what is possible with NetApp and your data management, your data migration, replication, disaster recovery, and not forgetting your on-premises high performance, low latency workloads with all features enabled, which you can do. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any questions, please raise your hand or type them in the chat.